The sinking feeling in San Joaquin Valley, a problem due to the drought, is causing thousands of square miles of land to literally sink, and it will impact all of us permanently.
CBS 13's Nick James is here now with part one of his 5-part series, California, A State of Survival. Nick?
Well, Christina and Sam, so much about this drought is hard to miss right there on the surface. Now, this problem is happening largely out of sight, but for those in the know, hardly out of mind. We are doing permanent damage to our state's water supply. So we took a trip south from Sacramento, heading down to Merced County for a look at this expensive impact we may all have to share.
Since the 20s or 30s, this area has sunk about 10 feet.
In the sun-soaked, parched San Joaquin Valley. Inside this tiny, dusty shed in Los Banos, USGS hydrologist Michelle Sneed is measuring a vast problem, hidden just beneath the surface.
So this is a measurement of the aquifer system compaction.
What her calculations show is startling. About 3,000 square miles of this land is sinking at some of the fastest rates on record. It's dropping in some areas more than 1 foot a year. The phenomenon seen in an animation from NASA is called subsidence, caused by growers pumping more and more water out of the ground.
We should be worried. I mean, it is a concern. It's expensive. It's impacting, farming activities. It's impacting the delivery of water.
We didn't have to go far to see the impact of overpumping in several spots.
There's about 3 of these along this stretch.
The concrete liner of the Delta Mendota Canal is crumbling.
So water can seep behind it and start eroding the levee that we're standing on here.
Subsidence isn't just cracking canals and leaving wells above ground. Sinking land is buckling roads and damaging bridges. Experts warn repairs could cost taxpayers millions. When this bridge was first built decades ago, people could actually boat under it. Now the water is level with the road. The bridge has sunk about a foot in the last couple of years, and before long, it'll have to be replaced. Hydrologists explain subsidence is not new. As you can see in this striking photo, land was giving way here back in the early 1900s, slowed when canals were built. Farmers didn't rely as much on wells since there was plentiful surface water.
It essentially fixed the problem for many years, except during droughts.
Today's surface water is dwindling, so growers are heavily dependent on groundwater, drilling wells at deeper and deeper depths. Scientists say they're sucking far more water out of the ground than what's replaced. Without the water itself to hold it in place, the underground clay layer is compacted and the land above sinks and begins to collapse. If we were sitting right here a year ago, this would actually be about here.
Yeah.
Chase Hurley calls this spot in Fresno County ground zero for subsidence. The Sac Dam was built to divert and push water from the San Joaquin River to his canal, which carries water to farmers as far as 45 miles away.
It's our only way to get water to 45,000 acres of productive farmland.
And it's getting tougher and tougher to do that.
And it's getting tougher and tougher every year. That's correct.
Tougher because the dam is sinking. It's not pushing the water as powerfully into the canal, which itself is sinking. Canals are sensitive, built on careful slopes so water flows downhill. Subsidence is disrupting that, meaning in some cases the water is slowed by having to move uphill and not as much of it gets to farmers. Either it's not moving as quickly and you can't deliver as much, or you have to install something that will deliver it at a tremendous cost.
That's correct. Exactly right.
The cost of installing a pumping station here, a cool $15 million, and that's just one spot. Experts say some canals in the San Joaquin Valley have lost 50% of their delivery capacity.
We're actually starting to push water uphill. And obviously gravity diversions don't work well going uphill.
So what happens then? It's a vicious cycle. Growers drill more wells, which causes the land to sink even more, slowing the canals even further. For farmers with permanent crops, it is quite literally a matter of survival. But groundwater pumping has gone largely unregulated and unmonitored for decades. Newly passed state rules don't take effect for years, so Hurley is working with local leaders to come up with a plan.
We've got to get a handle on it, and if we don't, my dam and my diversion is going to need some work ASAP.
So they had to build all of this up, which is, an expensive fix.
As troubling and expensive as the immediate infrastructure impact may be, hydrologists like Sneed say at least it can be fixed. The most pressing long-term problem caused by subsidence cannot. The Central Valley Aquifer, which extends some 400 miles, is the state's biggest underground reservoir, and yet the sinking is causing its capacity to shrink permanently. Once it's gone, it's gone. We can't get that water storage back. It's a heavy price to pay for taking too much groundwater during a drought.
Just like a bank account, you can't do that for too long without paying penalties.
And our penalties are going to be quite severe.
Yeah, they are. They already are.
Ironically, this drought problem is also prompting flood concerns. The most rapid sinking is happening at the most important flood control channel in the entire valley. The fear that next time that it rains, there could be a damaging flood. That's a look at Merced County. Now, tomorrow night, we head even farther south where there is no concern of a flood. The hardest hit area in the entire state, Tulare County, where hundreds and hundreds of people have no water at all.
Pretty scary thought all the way around. And seeing is believing in situations like this. When you see it firsthand, you know it's happening and it's not getting any better.
Hard to believe.
Very hard to believe. All right, Nick, we look forward to tomorrow. Thanks so much.